All right, hello again. London Open session on Monday, Silver Bullet hour, and we'll see what we get in here. So yeah, let's start with the calendar for this week, and we're starting with Monday. Treasury Besant Secretary Besant speaks at 2 p.m. Medium impact. CB Consumer Confidence 10 a.m. tomorrow. Main news so far 8:30 PCE. Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we have Jackson Hole Symposium, so be mindful about that. This is because the Jackson Hole at Thursday, Friday. This week I would treat similar to the ANFP week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday should be better, cleaner price runs, price action, versus Thursday, Friday should be or could be potentially worse. All right. Going into this, my idea so far initially for this week is that we might gravitate towards this suspension blocking here, and that's where my attention will be initially. And yeah, we'll see, we'll judge how it goes along the way. But yeah, now Asia. Ever since Asia, I mean, fun fact: look how or where Asia turned around exactly at the RTH Open from Friday. Beautiful turnaround there, and nice little run lower into the low of the 4 hour BC altogether. Not quite closing below it. Little consolidation currently. Yep. Good morning, Sonia. Hello, welcome to the stream. Let me double check if there are volume imbalances. Actually, yes, on both sides. So this is a suspension block here on the 1 minute. Yeah, from other things, I'm really pleased about the buy side liquidity that we left here. Like, look at this pool of buy side liquidity. That's like very smooth, isn't it? On the 1 minute, it's incredibly smooth. That's something to keep in mind for sure. So yeah, let's see. So far we are in a measure of a consolidation in here, and that's what we are going to be starting with. On the downside, I would like to add this consecutive encroachment of this week, but it lays exactly at the low of this 4-hour busy low, so I will just try to remember. I remember that and eyeball it there. Yeah. At the same time, sell side liquidity rests below this low. Sell side liquidity rests below this low, and there is quite not a lower low since couple of days, right? So the sell side will be building up, and at the same time, we would need to refer to some sell side liquidity here from August 4th and 3rd as a potential draw. And I will actually annotate one. And I'll annotate this as a sell side here. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I mean 5 almost equal bodies as a low hanging fruit type of objective on the downside. So any continuation lower, that's kind of where I would look for as a draw initially. Because yeah, quite frankly, I don't necessarily see it go there right now. Might change, but good morning, don't you, Christian? Hello. Yeah, I mean, lower seems like be the path to go, but let's see, because we are just consolidating here. I'm not quite sure. Uh, how far could it go first? Higher, for example. The suspension block low was touched. It immediate reaction after that. That favors lower though. All right, interesting. We are tapping up into the suspension block again, possibly clearing the buy sell liquidity on a more severe basis. All right, we are closing above the consecutive encroachment here. And we have a long wick above that. So this is like a line in the sand, I would say. Consecutive encroachment of this premium wick. So now we tapped into the high of this suspension block here. And I mean, almost the high. It failed like one tick or so to actually reach the high yet. So yeah, that would have been like a sweet spot. Let's see if we can close outside of it. All right, so we are approaching the high of the suspension block again. Now even close above it. So there is a chance this could act or work as a bullish inversion for value gap. But yeah, I don't want to use it this way because I think it's gonna go lower still, potentially. Or at least I want to give it still a chance to prove itself, because we are now trading up into this week. Yeah, that still could have been like a moho, the premium that could turn around. But yeah, for now I want to observe these two arrays. Besides that, we have this pronounced order block here, but that's a different. That's for later. All right, so what we did so far, we trade outside the suspension block. We traded into this premium week, but couldn't quite reach consecutive encroachment yet, and we are turning back into the suspension block. This is a very small little run outside of it, but now what I want to see whether it shows any discount sensitivity here in the upper half, because if it does, then that could bode well for a potential continuation higher, maybe towards this order block here, this high, and or ultimately those perfect equal highs. They are not out of question then. But yeah, the thing is that it's the first session of the day. It's Monday. It's against, I mean, higher is against my weekly bias. So far, my weekly bias is bearish. So yeah, I rather filter out longs, even if I miss a move, than engage with a poor or impulsive manner with it. So far, we couldn't even reach up into this consecutive encroachment. We tapped into this quadrant, nobody's lay on it, and we move some lower. So if we could close below this suspension block again, it should then act as its original original function. Let's see. Nonetheless, the body stays in the upper half so far. Let's see if it will dig deeper one more time or not. Small little bearish fair value gap formed in here. Right, so we are digging below the consequent encroachment for the third time in here. Close below it. And now trading into this little premium bearish fair value gap here. Okay, I will go with one in here. So my best case scenario for this for now would be this level here. Which is even horizon between those two liquidity pools. So yeah, I'm assuming that this was just coloring outside of the lines, trying to reach into this consecutive encroachment. It couldn't quite do that. It's turning around, not respecting this as inversion for Vega very well. So I would assume that we could or should expand lower out of it. So far it's just meandering around the consecutive encroachment. So preferably I would like to see it not offer much support at the low and just close below it. That would be like what I would like to see. There are relatively cool lows in here. Approaching the high of it slightly. This also looks quite like a bull flag in here. Nonetheless, let's see if we can reach the consecutive encroachment of that week. I might add one more. Yeah, the body's thinking sour, the suspension block there. Right, so I'm adding one more. And I would anticipate an expansion pretty soon. So far so good. I like this large down candle here, like that. Closing below the suspension block would be ideal. We haven't seen that yet, but the next candle may follow that up. So let's see. So now as we have those equal highs here, right? Those resistance broken, now support, right? So I would like to see it not act as support actually and just slice through, because this is like a bull flag plus this support resistance type of idea for retail. And I would just love to see it attack the sell side liquidity and below instead. All right, I don't like to see what I see here, where we went outside of this suspension block quite a bit, and we came back all the way up to close back inside of it and not post a close below it, even though it was quite extended. So if I see that, I want to see the next candle or the very next candle actually post a close below it. And now, especially as it formed a week, a discount week, violating that week would be a vital part for this to continue on going lower with some speed and fashion. So Yeah, so this candle didn't violated that to the downside, and this candle is now pushing higher. So that's not what I want to see, yeah. That's generally the opposite of what I want to see. Can it be like a last try to make it and then fall? Sure, but yeah, that can lead to a little bit of heat on less. So we have some relatively cool highs in here that we might poke. So yeah, now it formed this busy around here, and it swept into those equal highs. Not quite reached the quadrant there. All right, so approaching the consecutive encroachment in here, clearing the buy side liquidity, and yeah, that's not a very pleasant spot to be in. Getting some heat on the position. Yeah, maybe that unwillingness from price to close below it was the point where I should have maybe closed it with a little loss or something. But yeah, I decided to absorb a little bit of the heat. Took the buy side into the consequent correction of this week, and still like the expectation would be potentially to return back into this inversion and busy. And possibly then judge. All right, so now it's a key point. It's interesting because we might be returning back into this inversion and or BC. And generally, if we could slice right on through the upper half, then it's really bearish, and we are going lower. And that was just a stop run on the buy side. So now I want to pay attention, and if we see like a very strong rejectionness out of this area, then yeah, I'm probably offside, and I will need to gently excuse myself, politely excuse myself, and exit the position. And then I guess that's fine. I will take that. So far, the first candle dives into both of these. Let's see what the next candle already reaches consecutive encroachment of the BC. Almost reaching the consecutive encroachment of the inversion. Okay, closed very near the low on this candle, now breaching the consecutive encroachment. So let's see if we can lose the ground a little bit in here, because what I don't want to see is much respect to this area. I like this large expansion to the downside. That's what I was looking for. Now I can also move my stop loss to this high or slightly above, because I feel like it should not come back to it at this moment if it's good. And ideally we would leave this area. We have this also as potential inversion now inside of this, and couple of CBs that also should act as premium. So yeah, we should be aggressively attacking the sell side liquidity now, because where it is, it's here at the equal lows. Made the highs jagged and very nice rejection here. That's exactly what I was looking for. So at this moment, as we are leaving this suspension block to the downside again, we should not be exploring it by any means in the upper half of the bodies, right? We should stay away from it. So yeah, I took a little bit of heat on this position, but in realm of reasonable, it went. Yeah, this is technically like a high, a low, higher high. That's like a breaker now. Breaker inside of this suspension block, inside of this inversion for value gap. So lots of premium arrays linked to it. And we have very smooth equal lows that are just easy to target. So yeah, let's see. But at this point, at this moment, I would just suspect or want to see price stay heavy, and any retracement should be capped by the consecutive encroachment of this suspension block, preferably, right? But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, losing some ground in here would be really welcome. Right, and we are seeing a potential retracement right now after this run lower. Let's see how it will go, right? But ideally, I would like to see it being capped in the lower half of this suspension block because we have the breaker also overlapping with it. We have the suspension block itself, this week's consecutive encroachment, this premium for value gap, this inversion for value gap. So lots of stacked premium arrays around this area. So preferably we don't even get up there, but that's probably where yeah, I mean it's permissible, right? As long as it's not expanding in the upper half again, that's permissible to retrace a little bit. So no panic yet. We will be heading into the 354.10 macro in a couple more minutes. So that might bring some measure of acceleration. And if I'm correct on my assumption, if I'm correct on my draw and overall idea, we should see a nice delivery to the sell side. If I'm incorrect, then yeah, I will get stopped out. It is what it is, right? All right, so far it can't even reach up into this consequent encroachment this week, which is pretty heavy, pretty bearish at the time. Roughly 1 more minute until the macro begins. And yeah, we'll see. We should see movement at that time, right? We should see movement. All right, so the macro starts here. And I mean, looks like we are going to just slide into the sell side. From where we are, it should be rather easy to do, taking into consideration that the turning point already happened. But yeah, let's see. Sell side is pretty smooth also. So it definitely would make sense to just attack it quickly, if possible. But let's see. Small little volume balance there. We are trading up into currently. Beautiful, beautiful expansion now. Out of this little volume balance. How come? Love to see that though. All right, I will take one off here to remove the necessity for perfection. And bank a nice little partial. I will now remove the risk by putting the stop loss to break even, better than even. And I will still watch whether we can see follow through this low and maybe squeeze this best case scenario for now. But even if not, even if it turns around, I took something off near the low and I'll be having peace of mind and being content with that. But yeah, I still assume that we could or should expect that run on the sell side here and or deeper. But yeah, just in case I was wrong, just in case I turn around ahead of my level slightly. And remember, this low of this 4-hour busy is the same level roughly to this week's consecutive encroachment. And if a reversal could happen, that's exactly where it would happen. So that's why I took one off here after it did this perfect touch to it and then rejected. If it would close below it on the first one, I would have not taken this partial. So that's kind of like the little logic behind it. Does it mean that it needs to turn around on a dime here? Obviously not. It's still technically bearish and lower is expected, but just in case something out of the hook would occur, meaning some manual intervention or something like that, from this level it could have made a turn, possibly. Not that it should or would, but yeah, just in case. And between this level and the target that I was looking for, the first partial was like around 10 handles of a difference, which 10 to 15, which is, that's not worth it to like greed for when you can take a partial at a very logical and solid level. And yeah, taking profits is never wrong. So yeah, now I have more peace of mind that whatever happens with this trade, I already booked a nice little partial, and now I can, it's a free risk-free position. My stop loss already covers a little bit of profit. I cannot lose on this trade at this moment, and I already banked quite some handles on it. So that's a wonderful position to be in as a trader. And yeah, this allows me to hold for a potential best case scenario target, which obviously doesn't need to be given to me, right? But just in case it will, I can still look for it, aim for it, and squeeze a little bit more out of it, right? As long as it's possibly speaking in my favor, then I can stick with it, right? So So yeah, I like how the bodies are respecting the lower half of this CB. We have some relatively cool lows here. Let's see if we can attack them. We will be rolling over into the 4 a.m. In 1 minute, so we'll see. This is the account balance, equity for 506.5, and the floating account balance. So this is still changing with the open profit, right? 4960.11 roughly. All right, so these are a little bit of shenanigans in here, that it was looking like it's gonna go lower, and now it's trading slightly higher with a week only, and kind of like clearing both sides. So I'm very glad I'm already in a position that I am currently. I usually aim for one trade per day, with the caveat that if I take a loss, that's not a full loss for the day, I can try to mitigate it if there is a setup or opportunity for it during the same session, usually. Or if I take a trade that's break even, I will take another one during the next session. So usually one, but up to two max. Nice slide. So the target, the initial target from that I was looking for, just met. And now let's see if we can get a runner towards the best case scenario here. All right, so far we poke the low with wicks only, rather shallowly, I would say, which means that I would still like to see a deeper push on a body basis. Let's see, maybe that will be the case. Because with taking the sell side liquidity here, I really want to trim my stop loss a little bit further, I would say, because I either want to see a heavy price action in my favor that gives me a runner, or I want to cut the trade ASAP, theoretically. Just not allowed it to come back all the way up there to stop me on even. because yeah, the targets are being met. All right, I can now move the stop loss to above this fair value gap here and be content with seeing it either faltering lower and offering me a little bit more of a juice, or stopping me out, and also I'll be content. So that's kind of how I'm trying to deal with the uncertainty here. Whatever happens, happens. A lot of weeks, long weeks on the downside here, which to me, I would still like it to go actually make a lower low here. But yeah. Yeah, so that's a little bit problematic, I would say, right? That's a little problematic. I might get stopped out here. And yeah, that will be probably just fair enough of an attempt. Yeah, so that's a stop out. Yeah, I guess it's fair enough. I maybe I could have be taking this one off here too, and it wouldn't be a bad idea, in fact, right? But yeah, I was looking to squeeze a little bit out of it more. In that case, it gave me this retracement, completely reasonable. Can it still roll over? Maybe, but I'm already content and done with this particular session in here. So not too chubby. Let's see account summary. So I added 175 bucks to the bottom line, and the account balance is sitting now at 49,577 and a half. That's where we are at. And yeah, still fighting with the drawdown. Already got some of it back, but still in the DD. But yeah, all of this is a part of the process, and that was the trade for today. Well, I mean, seeing this I would get stopped out on even 100%. So taking that more aggressive trail and taking a little bit more out of it here versus taking nothing here is definitely a positive. So not too bad. Let's make a screenshot, and yeah, that's it. Nonetheless, thank you guys for watching. I wish you guys a pleasant reminder of the day. Good luck, good trading, and see you next time. Bye bye.